Yo, what's up everybody? It's your man, Tim Swain. I know you know Superman. I know you know Spider-Man. I know you know Batman. But do they talk about issues relevant to African children in Africa? Have you ever heard of Mighty Joe? He's an environmental crusader dealing with the real issues that children face right here in Ghana every day. Today, I am going to sit down with the director of Parables Animation Studios to talk about the journey of making cartoons relevant for kids in Africa. Yo, what's up everybody? It's your man Tim Swain. We are continuing our children's series. I love parables. I know you love parables. So today I decided to sit down with the director of Parables Ghana as we talk about animation in Ghana and telling stories from our perspective for our children. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with me.
All right.
I always say this, but I know so many people are very busy. So for you to take your time to spend with me, I appreciate that. For the people who that you're introducing yourself to, again, please just introduce yourself and a little more about what you do.
Okay, all right. So I'm Cycil Jones Abban, the director of Parables Animation Studio. Parables is a company that I started after school. I'm actually a trained pharmacist, but I'm an animator it's my natural talent. And we are into animation production for TV commercials, music videos, TV series, and features. And that's what we basically do. And I've been doing this for the past, let's say, 20 years.
Wow.
And so far it's been good, encouraging. I've had challenges, but it's now paying off, I can say for sure.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow. Okay, so let's just back up a little in the story. You said you're a trained pharmacist. So let's back up way before Parables Ghana, and let's talk about you're a trained pharmacist.
Yes.
So how did you go from trained pharmacist to director of Parables Ghana?
Okay, so the story behind this is my dad, there are three of us. There's Jeffrey, there's Alice, and myself. I'm the middle born. And my dad wanted a doctor, actually.
Typical Ghanaian family.
But two of us, my elder brother and myself, happened to be artists. And so he was like, I should do medicine. He was an army man and asked me to join the army afterwards. But I took the doctor part, but I didn't take the army part. So I went to Laboni Secondary School. I did biology, and from there I went to KNUST, where I pursued pharmacy. Actually, I got admitted to the School of Medicine, but the letter from pharmacy came first, so I assumed I didn't get it. It was when I started the pharmacy that the letter from medical school came. I said, no, if I compare 7 years and 4 years, I'd rather do 4 years and get out of here and do what I really love to do. So that's how come I ended up in doing pharmacy. It was tough. But after 4 years, I graduated. When I finished, I wanted to jump straight into animation because all along it's been my passion to draw cartoons. I was exposed to the Tintin comics, the Asterisk comics. So if you notice, my style is towards the Asterisk kind of comics, yes. So I realized I didn't have the funding to start immediately. So I had to use the pharmacy resources, the money I got from pharmacy. I was doing community service. And I'll use that money to fund, to buy a scanner, to buy a PC in my little room. So over time, I was working as a pharmacist by day, and then during the evenings, I come home, I do my animation stuff. Wow. Then the demand for pharmacy animation started growing, the cartoons, illustrations, and stuff. So I had to balance them. And at some point, I had to swap and do the cartoons and animation during the day, and then I settled to do pharmacy at night. I had that option. So over and over time, the studio got attention from other people, and I decided, okay, let me start the two of them. But as the pressure for pharmacy animation starts, you have to push down the pharmacy a little bit. I haven't stopped, but I still, my full-time business now is the animation business.
Wow.
I still do a little bit of pharmacy just to keep myself abreast with things that are happening around. So I'm a pharmatunist, let me call it that.
I like that, a pharmatunist. Wow, that's nice. So you had this passion.
Yes.
Why animation?
Okay.
What made you become passionate about animation as opposed to other forms of artistry?
Okay, so what I realized back in the days, we used to tell stories by the fireside. And we had Anansi stories and all those traditional stories, African stories. And then we shifted to TV, and we had the things that the Cartoon Network stories, the Dexter's Laboratory, and then we had the Captain Planets on a TV series, everything. And we realized that we were losing track of what we were telling by the fireside because technology had come. And I realized that most of these Westerners were using this animation to preserve their history, to preserve their culture. So I felt like we needed to do the same thing. So my first passion was to compound all the Anansi stories and animate them so we can preserve them and present them to the younger generation. Because out of these stories, we had moral values, the cultural values being communicated and imparted on the children. We felt that we could use the animation to do the same thing. Nobody sits by the fireside anymore, but we can use cartoons. They sit on your phones and the TV sets and stuff. So that's the whole idea behind what I started. So the first movie that I did, which is a feature-length movie, I can say it was Ghana's first feature-length. It was about 45 minutes. That's a lot of work.
Wow.
It was Anansi Must Die, and it was well received. And after that, I felt like, okay, people love it, so let me continue doing Anansi stories. So over time, 10 years, I've done a lot of Anansi stories, and I'm beginning to move into other areas, creating superheroes and stuff. So that's how far we've come so far.
Wow, wow. So with the Anansi stories, it incorporates the African culture as well as the moral stories to be passed down to the children.
Exactly.
So for those who, let's say, have never seen or never heard of any kind of African moral stories, give us some examples of some of the stories that can be, or some of the moral stories or lessons that can be found in some of the Anansi stories.
Okay, one of them has to do with thinking before you act. For instance, there's a story about a monkey who felt so hot one afternoon, and then he decided that, okay, he was going for a swim. So he went to the riverside and he saw a giraffe standing in the water. And he asked the giraffe, is the water deep? And the giraffe says, yeah, it's up to my knee level. So the monkey also chuckles and is like, okay, knee level, my knee, that's short. So without thinking, he jumps into the water, only to realize that he was about drowning. So the giraffe came to his rescue. It was like, you told me the water was shallow, it was up to your knee level. I said, no, it's up to my knee level. It doesn't mean it's shallow for you. You have to think before you act. That's the whole idea behind that. So it's like the moral lesson is when somebody says something, think about it before you act upon it to save yourself. So, yeah.
I was having a conversation with someone. I mean, I grew up in America, moved to Ghana recently. I remember the cartoons that I watched growing up. But when I got older, I began to examine them. My background is education. So I taught all levels, but I rested at the university level. But one of the things I noticed after having a child and analyzing some of the African cartoons and the American cartoons is I noticed that a lot of the African cartoons are truly, genuinely 100% made for children. Yes. When I started looking at some of the American cartoons, I started analyzing them and realized some of this is kind of inappropriate for children.
Exactly.
The lessons in there and everything. And it was very interesting, and it made me question. How can I find something that's genuinely for my son? When he watches this, he's not getting some ideas about some weird.
It's been worrying myself. Sometimes when my kids are watching cartoons and I'm drawing, my ears have to be there. Because you hear swear words, you hear stuff, and it's like, hey, stop that. So now my kids know what to watch. You know, I mean, I have DSTV, but actually they can only watch like 3 movie shows, because most of the contents you realize are not for kids. They are too advanced for kids. Some of the topics that they talk about is way beyond the kids. You know, like a delivery process in the hospital, it's just off. So Africans, we know what our children are supposed to learn. So we make sure that we limit the contents. We know that this is what the children need at this particular age. And so we have to tailor all our concept and scripting to suit that particular age. And that's what we do. We don't move them into areas that are beyond them. We want them to understand that, okay, at this stage in life, this is what you want to know. If there's anything extra, we'll make room, but we'll take our time to grow them into that. And I think it's the best way. Because sometimes the children begin to say things that are really, really off. And you realize that they pick it up from the movies. I mean, a 4-year-old saying, I'm a diva. I was like, where did you pick this word from?
It's true. It's true. And it communicates the power of media.
Exactly.
And if we're telling our children stories that are inappropriate, and it's this impactful, how much more impactful can the right stories with the right characters be?
Yes.
So in addition to some of these stories, the Nancy family and about moral lessons, you say you have other characters that you have. So tell us about some of those.
All right, so there are three main things that we focus on parables. We focus on folklore, history, and environment. And so for the environment, we have created a superhero called Mighty Joe. He's an environmental crusader who solves Ghana's environmental issues. One of the issues, it was actually a comic book that we started after being exposed to the Tintin and the Asterix. I decided to create a superhero for Ghana myself. And interestingly, I decided to pick environment because back in the days we had a lot of bushfires in Ghana and stuff. So I felt like using that superhero to address that issue. No funding, of course. This is part 4 as well. So I dropped it until recently when the issue of Galamsey popped up again. And I said, okay, I think this is another right atmosphere to reintroduce Mighty Joe. So I went back to the drawing table with my elder brother. We designed a thing to suit today's environment because now everybody's doing costumes and stuff, not those skin stuff. So we created Mighty Joe, and the first episode was on Galamsey, illegal mining, and we premiered it in one of our shows that we have at the Silverbird Cinemas. And the response from the children was very, very exciting. I mean, now at the end of the movie, they understood the concept, they understood the message that mining in the rivers was wrong. If you're using the DDTs and stuff, it was wrong. They got that. And then when we finished, we were chanting Mighty Joe. I said, okay, I think this is this is what to focus on. Anansi was there, but Mighty Joe, I realized that they needed a superhero because they've been exposed to the Spider-Man, the Captain America, so they wanted something that reflected their culture. And to see a black guy wearing the hood, red, gold, green, and talking, they are speaking the way they speak. They were very, very excited. I was like, okay, I think this is the era of superheroes. I'm going to move into that and create more superheroes.
Wow. So we have Mighty Joe.
Okay, yes, Mighty Joe. There's another one that is coming up called Agent 8. That's a female one, superhero, and it's Asantua, which is also based on history. It's also another superhero that we are creating. So all this stuff that we do.
I think it's very interesting because even with Asantua, it's not like Superman. Superman is fictional.
Exactly.
You can't find Superman anywhere in the world.
Yes.
But you can actually go in history.
Yes, and find it.
Yes. You can go and read the books about her. She's a real person who did some superhero things at that time, especially defending the golden stool. So telling those stories is so important. You said that this process has not been easy.
Yes.
So what have been some of the challenges you faced with just keeping this message in front of people and keeping this dream alive?
Okay, so when we did the first production on Mazda in 2007, I mean, Ghana, this is Ghana, there's no funding, there's no support. We had to fund it ourselves. That's where the pharmacy came in. I used my money to support it. But I realized the pressure was growing on that finances, so I had to resort to doing commercial works. So I had to pitch some few ideas to clients. Back in the days, they didn't appreciate animation, but you had to sell it to them. And it was very, very difficult selling animation ideas to clients because this is kid stuff, So one of my first clients was SNIT, Social Security Arm, and let's give it a shot. And then I did the first stuff for them. And then when they aired it, the elderly folks really loved the animation. So like, okay, we want more. So that's how come I managed to get some funding to push into my production. I still haven't gotten funding, and I'm still relying on commercial works to fund most of my projects. So that's been my major challenge. I mean, I have ideas, but it's the money that really pushed them. And also realize some of the, you have ideas, you have the products, now the channel of distribution. Where do you put them? You take them to TV stations.
I get you. I get you. I get you. You don't have to say anything else. I get you.
So when you finish, you give them 13 episodes. I mean, they run it. Hey, thank you very much. Handshake. What is the next 13 coming up? I mean, I used money to produce this. So I'm expecting some revenue to come back. So I decided to rethink and find my own way of raising my own money. So recently, the new initiative we've done is to do something like a Netflix, where we've put all our cartoons on one platform. Parents can go and subscribe, pay a little token, and watch them. I think it's better. than just going to the TV station and say you're not getting any money in return. At least if it's 20%, you have 100 people or maybe 1,000 people subscribing. I mean, that's money that can go into more productions. So that is the initiative I've taken to also try and raise funding. Of course, I'm trying to pitch the ideas to other investors to see if they will buy into these superheroes, the history stories, and then give us some funding to get it done. But that has been a major challenge. Yeah, basically.
So someone at this point who's watching this, and people literally watch from all over the world, I'm sure they're asking, where can I go to watch? Where can I go to support? So how can someone show this to their children?
Okay, so we have websites, www.studioparables.com, and we have this new channel called Koliko Plus. And so when you click there, we have our works over there. You can decide which one you want to watch. We are uploading more videos every month, about 4 videos every month, and we're hoping to grow the channel. So right now it's just individual videos that we have produced in the past that we're putting out there. Currently we're producing more. We have a 28 feature film which will be released in August. That will also put up over there for people to access and watch the cartoons over there. So if you go to Koliko Plus on studioparables.com, all our works are there. It's our site, and you can have access to our productions and take a look and decide whether you want to support and share and get more people to subscribe on. And I think it's good because this is African content.
Yes.
You know that this is something when you watch, you are safe.
Yes.
We produce it ourselves. You hear your own language. Yes. You see things that reflect your culture, and you know that it's safe for you. We are not going to do anything that you cause you to be worried about.
And I think that's very important because my son is 4.
Okay.
He will be 5 this year. When I put him on some African cartoon, I can just leave.
Exactly.
And I know that he's safe.
Yes.
And that's the most important thing for myself.
Yeah.
And I remember he was watching some cartoon about some also. It was an African cartoon about picking up rubbish off the ground.
Okay.
I forgot the name.
Okay.
But then he was coming around the house.
Trying to do the same
Yes,
thing.
and it just tells you how influential this
Exactly.
is. And so it's so important.
Yeah. They imitate what they see.
Exactly.
So we make sure that we give them the right images. The images will last in their memories and they'll grow.
Yeah.
To adopt those styles.
Yeah, it's very important for me. I was sharing that. What happens when we expose our children to images like Mighty Joe, who is fighting Galamsey.
Exactly.
Really, doing things to improve the environment and what may have you.
Yes.
And how impactful this can be.
Yes.
And it also made me think about, what has been happening all these years if our children have not seen themselves, in the superheroes or the characters or what may have you. I'm sure someone watching is inspired by your story, but they may be where you were, where they have this dream that they want to do something in Ghana here. It may not be animation, it may be something else in the arts.
Yes.
But Charlie, they don't have money. So I want to maybe provide some encouragement for them of how they can navigate that process of trying to keep that dream alive.
Yes. I would say it's sacrifice. I've done a lot of sacrifice. Sometimes I look at the works that I have and I'm wondering why I'm doing that. Because it's I've done so many things I should be able to sell and make a lot of money and relax, but you're not really getting that push. So sometimes I get to the point of giving up, and then maybe one small contract will pop up somewhere, and it's okay, there's hope somewhere. So it's about keeping your focus. That's why I said that in the beginning, you have to do a lot of sacrificial work initially. It's now that I've started getting people calling and saying that, look, we've seen this stuff we've done, we've realized we have content. We want to support, we want to invest. What can we do? So it's okay, now I think I'm almost there. So all the years I've spent building content, it's been 20 years. So when I start out, I know that if anybody comes today, I have content that I can supply. It's not now that I'm now going to think about what to do. I've been doing it, I've been paying the price, I've been suffering. When you marry, it's different. You have to feed children. So you can't do things for free anymore.
Yes.
So all of that is now beginning to pay off because now I have the content, I have sacrificed to create the content, and I can now sell them. So it's about keeping your focus, making sure that you psych yourself that you're going to do a lot of sacrifice for now. And hopefully keep pushing until you get visible. And make sure your words get out there visible. Because there's no point in having things and hiding them. just get on YouTube, just go to social media, just start sharing. You never know who might pick it up and say, okay, look, I want to support you. What. And when they come, make sure that, my years of experience has helped me to really identify exactly the areas I want to find myself in. Initially, I was doing a lot of stuff, but now I know that when somebody comes with money, I want to put into this, that, and that because of the experience. So just make sure that as you're going along, try to identify your niche markets. So when a person comes, he knows that exactly what you want to do, so that you don't waste money. He knows that you're a serious person, you have focus, and you have your target, and then you push the money in there. So first sacrifice, keep your focus, and your breakthrough will come.
Wow. Wow.
And for the younger ones who probably are talented, and parents have a problem of, okay, I want you to be a doctor, I want you to be a this, don't do your talent. I want to advise the parents. Identify what your children do very best and push them in that area. But at the same time too, when parents come to that, I tell them, look, let your child get an education. Just like I did, find a profession. Do medicine, do pharmacy, IT, and make sure that at the end of the day, you have two things to do. When the money from your passion is not coming, at least you have a profession to rely on. Else you'll be in trouble.
It's true. It's true.
You'll be in serious trouble. Especially when you marry and you have children and you're waiting. Animation, when I pick one animation job, it can take like 3 months to finish. So within that 3 months, there's no money. You can't survive on that. So then I rely on the pharmacy to fill the gap. Then when I get the money from animation, and I go back. So try and get the profession and at the same time do your passion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It sounds like there needs to be a business parable for everybody. To not just jump into the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you haven't assessed how deep it is yet.
Before you do that.
Yes. Wow. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today.
It's a pleasure.
I'm sure the people watching this video will definitely support. All the information is right there in the description link, so make sure you click it, make sure you support. And if you like content like this, as always, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe. Until next time, peace.